Hello my beautiful earthlings, how are you? It's great to see you again as always, and today we're going to be discussing my favorites for the month of May. I haven't purchased anything new, there's nothing new here, this is all stuff that is present in my current collection. However, these are products that I've been using consistently over the course of the month of May, and I just have some thoughts. I have some things that I really loved, some things that I'm officially about, and some things that I'm absolutely like hating and I can't wait to use up. So I have quite a few things here in this basket, so let's pull each one out and talk about them. Alright, so we're gonna start this video off on a very positive note, and we're going to talk about my favorites first. And the first thing that I grabbed out of my favorites basket for the month is this Good Molecules Silicone Free Priming Moisturizer. This product right here is amazing, and I cannot rave about it enough. But first, let me let you know the way that I personally like to apply this product. So I'll cleanse in the morning as I usually do. I'll apply my toner, then I'll do my eye moisturizer or cream, whatever you want to call it, and then I'll go in and use this and only this. I will not apply any other moisturizers along with this product. I will let that sink into my skin for a good 10 to 15 minutes, which is what I would usually do with my regular moisturizer prior to makeup application, and then I would go in with my makeup. So this is something that actually I would have probably never thought to purchase for myself. This came in my Beautylish Lucky Bag, and honestly this ended up being one of my favorite, if not my favorite things that I got in my Lucky Bag. This is a really good moisturizer, and it's also a very fantastic primer. I think they took the right ingredients and combined them together, and I love the fact that it's silicone free, because I feel like right now in the market, almost every primer that I could personally think of has some sort of silicone base, and usually the silicone based primers are the ones that are very great for pore filling and things like that. So if that is your main concern when purchasing a primer, then I wouldn't say that this should be your first choice. I have oily to combination skin, so for my drier areas, this is amazing. And for my oily areas too, I don't find that it makes me any greasier or increases my oil production. It's a very well balanced moisturizer if we're talking about that aspect, and as a primer I feel like it grips on to makeup very well. This does work well with other primers as well. I do want to mention that it's a fantastic product, and I am so thankful that this was in my Lucky Bag. This is awesome, and when I run out of it, I do plan on repurchasing this. So the next item we're going to talk about is this beautiful eyeshadow palette from Midas Cosmetics, and that is their High Times palette. If I would have done a video with favorites for the month of April, this probably would have been at the top of the list. So this is something that I was using throughout that month that trickled into me using it quite a bit in the month of May, but this is a beautiful selection of greens, smoky tones, and some nice earthy neutrals. You have a beautiful mustardy shade here. The shimmers in here are amazing. This is just a very well balanced palette, because when it comes to a lot of these green themed, or in this case cannabis themed makeup products, a lot of the times they'll just be green, brown, that's it. But this, you got greens, you got browns, you got golds, you got grays, you got shimmers, you just have a beautiful selection of colors. I love Midas Cosmetics eyeshadow formula on their mattes and their shimmers. I find them to blend so easily and so beautifully, and I've gotten so many amazing looks with this palette throughout the month of April, and especially throughout the month of May. So this was definitely a big favorite for this past month. Next, let's talk about my favorite highlighters for the month of May, and they are here in this 24 karat gold Jeffree Star Cosmetics highlighter palette. First of all, I love this packaging. It's so cool. But the highlighters that I've been using and abusing like crazy for the month of May were Sarcophagus and Legendary. Sarcophagus is a very nice, warm, beigey highlighter. It's very beautiful, and Legendary is this beautiful rosy pink. And my favorite way to use these two is actually together, or I'll just use Legendary as like a bit of a blush topper, or mixing it with my blush, in sarcophagus, I could slather myself in that all freaking day. I'm actually wearing both of these mixed in today over my blush. I just love Jeffree Star's highlighter formula, and this is just in the original Skin Frost. And these are beautiful, beautiful highlighters. And honestly, I haven't used this palette as much as I have in the month of May. There's just something about the shades in here that really encouraged me to start reaching for it. And again, specifically Sarcophagus and Legendary were by far the most outstanding two shades for me in the month of May, and I'm hoping to start digging into the rest of these more. So this might get mentioned in the future favorites, who knows, we'll see, but definitely a big hit. Next, I want to talk about this Peach Perfect setting powder from Too Faced. This is awesome. This easily became one of my favorite setting powders for the simple fact that it can make the cakiest, most mattifying concealer that I have in my collection look nothing of the sort and make it look absolutely beautiful and glowy and not fucked up. It makes whatever concealer you're using not fucked up. It does not emphasize lines. I don't feel like it increases my chances of creasing or anything like that. It's just a really, really lovely powder. I believe it only comes in one shade, which is the translucent one. And I like that it has this closure right here. So you're never wasting product or powder. The one criticism I do have for this powder is the smell. If you've tried anything from the peach line that Too Faced has, there's a particular peach scent that they put in those products. And it can be very, very, very overwhelming, especially when I'm using this powder. I would say that's the only con. If you're sensitive to smells or if you don't like that smell, I would steer clear of this powder. But if smell doesn't bother you, or if you like the smell of the Too Faced peach line, then I would definitely suggest going for it, because like I said, it makes the cakiest of concealer and foundation look nothing of the sort, and it just gives a very nice, flawless finish to the skin, and on the under eyes it looks absolutely stunning. Personally, that's where I tend to use it the most, or in areas of my face where I feel like I get a lot of creasing, and this has definitely been outstanding product. I haven't been able to put it down or use anything else under my eyes because this has just blown me away. The next favorite that we're going to talk about here is this brush from Real Techniques, and that is their 421 Soft Accent Brush. I personally have been using this brush specifically for my concealer application. I have previously used it to apply my highlighter, eyeshadow base. I believe I used it one time to apply a cream highlight, but like I said, the most use that I've gotten out of this brush in particular has been concealer application. And as you can see, it's a nice packed brush. It's not overly dense. It does have some movement. I would say it's like a medium density brush, but I love this angle, and especially under the eye, if you're blending out concealer, it works amazing. And personally, I've been using it with a very mattifying and drying concealer, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And this has made it look flawless. Sometimes when I use other methods to apply this particular concealer, it would just come out looking terrible. And this brush has taken that concealer and made it look wearable and pretty and not fucked up. And it works well not only with that concealer, which again I'll discuss in a little bit, but with pretty much any single concealer that I've tried it with, whether it was a cream or a liquid. It just works great. It's amazing. Oh, I have also used this to set my under eye as well. Fantastic for that. It's a very nice multitasking brush. I believe I got this in a little set with a few other brushes. However, if you can purchase this individually, I would definitely seek this brush out and do so. It makes concealer application a breeze. It's a very versatile brush, and because it's synthetic also, you can use it for creams, and it's, I don't know what else to say. Awesome brush. Let me stop rambling. We'll move on to the next one, but this brush is fire. Okay, so next up we have another favorite from Too Faced, and it's another peach product. It's their Peach Mist Mattifying Setting Spray. Now, this is a travel size, and it does have the little balls in it. because when you shake it, you could hear those moving around and mixing the formula. And this is a mattifying setting spray. The first time I reached for this, it was honestly by accident. I had put it on my makeup desk to try it out in a few days with a product that I knew was a little bit more dewy in nature, and I ended up reaching for it right after I applied some of the most mattifying complexion products that I own. And this gave me actually a very nice satin matte look. I thought it looked great. The mister on this is very nice and fine. It was really surprising. It really looked like all of my products melded into one, and it was just a nice, beautiful, seamless satin skin look. And I was very impressed, honestly, by this setting spray and by how well it worked, especially for using it over a whole crap of other mattifying products. And I was very, very happy with the results that I got, and I can't wait to try it with some more dewier finish makeup. Okay, so the next favorite that I have here for you guys is actually an eye primer, and that is my Milani eyeshadow primer in Nude. So I quit using this primer for a good 8 months, and it was just sitting around in my collection because I had recently repurchased it. But at the time of repurchasing this, I also purchased 2 or 3 other eye primers because I was like, fuck it, let's try some different eye primers. I've been using the same eye primer now for 3 or 4 years. Let's dip into something new. And this fell by the wayside and I stopped using it, and using some of those other primers and having issues with them, I came back around and I found this primer again in my collection. And I am very, very happy to say that it's still probably my top eyeshadow primer. It works well with a wide array of formulas. It definitely makes eyeshadows pop and adhere well to my skin. It's a very, very, very awesome little thing, and it's so inexpensive. You get a lot of bang for your buck. There's quite a bit of product in here. You don't need a lot. The one thing that you have to do with this primer, which the first time that I reached for it in a long time that I realized, is you do have to wait that good 30 to 60 seconds till it absorbs and sets into the skin. But then after that, doing eyeshadow and using this, honey, it's amazing. All right, so next I have another primer. This time it's a face primer, and that is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I did discuss this in my Project Pan video. I love this primer. I think it's absolutely great. It is a little bit on that silicone pore filling side in my opinion, but as you can see, I've dug into this very, very deep. And it works very, very well. I feel like it makes the makeup last long. I've applied it all over my face. I've applied it with other primers. I've applied it only in my problem areas. I never have any issues using this with any sort of product, and I feel like it works great. So I'm not going to discuss this anymore since I already talked about it quite a bit in that video. But again, definitely a favorite for the month of May. I was using this consistently quite a bit, and I was actually mixing it quite a lot with the priming moisturizer from Good Molecules. So these two right here make a fabulous combo. All right, next I have another highlighter that I used quite a bit in the month of May. It was sort of in the later part of May, but it definitely made a fabulous impression for me to mention that here. And that is the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Skin Frost in the shade Nefri. This is a beautiful pinky purple highlighter. Again, this is something that is in my Project Pan at the moment, and it's a very, very gorgeous shade. I love the Jeffree Star Skin Frost formula. This was something that I wasn't reaching for as much because I was like, oh, it's gonna be too loud if I'm wearing it to like work, or look too crazy, it's limited edition, I should ease up. No. I started using it and I started using it consistently, and first of all, it's not too loud. You can mostly see the pinkiness and a little bit of like a lavender shift, but it never looks crazy or overdone or too much. So it's a wonderful highlighter and a wonderful product, and I'm really glad that I discovered this in my collection and fell in love with it. And the last favorite that I want to talk about is another eyeshadow palette, and this is again something spilling over from April into May and making me use it all throughout May because it's so good. Well, I made myself use it. What am I talking about? I'm delirious. But anyways, it's the Makeup Revolution Chilled with Cannabis Sativa eyeshadow palette. This is another green themed palette. Again, it's revolving around cannabis. And I have this palette in my possession for quite some time because I love greens. And the palette packaging is so cute. Like when you look at this, you would think that it's so much more colorful and crazy than what it actually is. But this is a mostly neutral palette with some pops of green and smokiness and of course the 3 pressed glitters. But I mostly ended up using a lot of the gold and brown shades when I was just wanting a little pick-me-up or just a nice, easy, simple look before going to the grocery store. That quarantine life though, I would reach for this palette, and I've had so many wonderful looks. I've gotten so many compliments. It looks so lovely. It's very easy to work with, both in terms of the neutrals and the greens, but for the month of May, I definitely reached a lot for the neutrals. The shades that I used the most, I would say, are Relax, Cool, and Haze. I also loved using Calm. I actually used the shade Calm a few times as a highlighter and also as an inner corner highlight. It's this beautiful pale yellow gold. So it's a lovely, lovely eyeshadow palette. If you're into this type of color scheme, I would definitely recommend that you pick it up. I think this is one of Makeup Revolution's better eyeshadow palettes with some of their better formula that's a lot easier to use. So it's wonderful. I've definitely had a wonderful time using this, and that's why I kept consistently using it from April into May, and honestly it took over most of May along with the Midas Cosmetics palette for me in terms of eyeshadow use. Now I have a very small amount of items that I thought were okay, and an even smaller amount of items that I thought were absolute garbage. So let's go in with some of those items that I thought they were okay. The first one being this Infallible 24-Hour Wear Foundation. I've been wearing this consistently in almost every single video over the last month, and even more so because I'm trying to run out of it. This just doesn't play well with everything, and because of that I can't wear it all the time. Depending on the type of method that I use to apply this, depending on the primer that I use or the powder that I use on top or the concealer, this can either look really, really great or look like absolute garbage. And honestly, when I'm using a complexion product, I want that complexion product to work with whatever powder, concealer, whatever I put on top. I need this to work and look great. And because this doesn't always guarantee me that, I have put it right here in the middle. I almost put it in my like fails for the month, but like I said, this is not necessarily a fail. It's just a very finicky product, and because of that, I can't stand by it all the way to call it a favorite. And I'm just trying to pan this at the moment. If you saw my project pan, again, this was something that was in there, and it's because of the reasons that I mentioned. But otherwise, this might be your thing. I hear a lot of people love this foundation. That's what convinced me to buy it, but this is just not a love for me. It's just meh. And another product that is just meh that I'm trying to pan is the Cody Airspun Loose Powder. Again, it's a very basic powder. Like I mentioned in my project pan video, it just doesn't mesh well with everything that I like to use day to day. So, meh, like, I just want to use it up and get rid of it, honestly. Alright, the next product that I thought was meh is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. My main problem with this primer is that I have to apply a lot, and I do mean a lot, on my lids. I do have to let it set, but why should I have to apply primer in such excessive manner for it to work well or to actually do its job? And that's the one thing that I never realized with this primer. And it's very, very disappointing because this is expensive, and for what you're paying, like, I mean, you're gonna use it up, but is it worth it? I would much rather spend my money on my Milani eyeshadow primer than this. And I kind of regret having this in my collection, but it's okay. I learned how to make it work, so I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna run out of it, but it's definitely not a favorite. It's just meh. And the next product that I think is okay is this Lancome Monsieur Big Mascara. I'm actually wearing it today. And the reason why I think this is just an okay mascara is a similar reason to the foundation that I was talking about earlier. This looks good when it wants to. And this is a very, 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 very wet mascara. So when you're using this, initially starting out of the packaging, you do have to apply a coat, let it dry, and I do mean let it dry, and then go in with another coat or touch it up or whatever. But if you're trying to get this on your eyes and get out the door, forget about it. It's gonna take forever. I'm actually loving it right now that I'm almost out of it and it's starting to dry out. So I do like about that. I do also have the full size as well, and I've had the same experience with the full size product. Also, I do prefer it once it's starting to become more drier in nature and in texture and application and stuff. And it does give a very nice volumized look to the lashes. I wouldn't say that it makes them very long, but it does emphasize them and does what a mascara should do, but it's nothing impressive by any means. Now let's talk about the products that I absolutely hate it and that are a pain in the ass to use. Luckily, I only have 3 of them. And let's start off with the first and what I feel like for me personally is the most controversial one. And that is this Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, specifically, and I do mean specifically, in the shade 16N Light Neutral. This concealer is what I was talking about. That is dry, 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 dry. I have 2 other shades from the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer line. Those 2 work great. I don't feel like they're excessively dry or make my skin look bad or set too fast. So what the fuck is wrong with this? I bought them at the same time. I don't understand. And the one thing that I guess I have gained an understanding of is all the people talking about how this concealer is overly drying. And I think that has to do with formula inconsistencies. I think, or at least that is my hypothetical, well, not really hypothetical, this is my hypothesis, it's my educated guess, that there's definitely a formula inconsistency because, like I said, I have 2 more shades from this line and they work perfect. And this one, for some reason, is overly drying, it just sets too fast, it's not good, and I don't like it, and I can't wait to run out of it because I'm definitely not going to repurchase this shade specifically. Now, the other shades that I use, I have repurchased those before, but I just thought that I would try something maybe a little bit lighter to mix in with those, as opposed to wearing a fully light concealer on its own. And in terms of a shade match for highlighting or adding a little bit more brightness to the face, I do think it's a nice color. But the formula of this particular one is garbage. And unless I use that Real Techniques 421 soft accent brush to apply this on my under eyes, it will look like shit. It just will. It'll look dry, it'll look terrible. And even after I use that brush, I found that it works well with like the Peach Perfect setting powder or that Becca Hydra Mist and Set powder. But otherwise, it looks terrible. So I hate this. I hate this. This is another thing for my project pan. I can't wait to use this up and get rid of it because it's a pain in my ass. Fuck this shade. Fuck 16N Light Neutral. Fuck you. Okay. I got very aggressive there. Alright, and the next item we're going to talk about is this eyeliner, and that is this Nutmeg eyeliner pencil from Sigma. First of all, the shade of this pencil is actually really, really nice. Oh, I guess I haven't sharpened in a minute. But it's a very nice shimmery brown. It matches exactly as it does on the packaging. It's a nice soft eyeliner. You can apply it very, very well to your skin. However, personally, I use pencil eyeliners mostly in the inner rim or a little bit under my lower lash line sometimes, or over when I'm trying to smoke things out or emphasize certain stuff depending on the look that I'm doing. But in the waterline, if you're looking for something in the waterline, stay away from this. This is terrible. It will wear off in 10 minutes on your waterline. It's just not worth it. And applied to the skin as well, I also don't find it to be very long wearing unless I set it with like an eyeshadow on top, but on its own, it'll fade and it'll look like it just poof, disappeared. and I can't have that for my eyeliner, and I also can't be constantly touching up my eyeliner either. So that's why this was a fail for me. Complete fail. I don't like it. I hope the other Sigma eyeliners are better, but because of trying this one, I definitely don't want to try another Sigma eyeliner at all. And the last item that we'll be discussing is yet another eyeliner. This time it's a liquid, and that is the Wet n Wild Mega Liner in the shade Voltage Blue. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous shade of blue. It matches exactly as it does on the packaging. I really like the applicator. It's a brush tip, and it's very, very nice. As you can see, it does have some give to it. It's not very stiff. You can get some very pretty lines from it. Again, the color is stunning, but the problem with this is the wear. It does not wear for shit. If you have watery eyes, or if you're wearing this during allergy season, prepare to have no eyeliner. Like, this wears off in a matter of seconds. Like the other day, for example, I was wearing this and I was just watching a funny movie. So I started laughing. You know, sometimes when you laugh really, really hard, your eyes can tend to water a little bit. My eyes started watering the tiniest, tiniest bit. And like the tiniest drop of water got on my wing. And mind you, this is a time when I use this and actually set it with the eyeshadow on top as opposed to leaving it on its own. And still the same thing. It just boof, started running. I got blue everywhere. Like, it was just terrible. It was just terrible. I love the color, and I'm still looking for an eyeliner that's this shade, and I can't find one. So I guess I'll be using this, but maybe just to like take pictures or wear for like an hour where I don't have to move or breathe or laugh. So then again, why am I wearing it if I can't do normal life things? So because of that, this is a fail. And again, this is another eyeliner where yet I am discouraged from trying any more of this particular line of liners. All right, everyone, we're done. That is everything. There's nothing more to talk about here in terms of favorites, but that was it. We had a lot of stuff we loved, a couple of stuff that were meh, and a few things that really pissed me off. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your time as always. You guys are so amazing. Again, to all new subscribers, hello. It's so good to see you and have you here on this channel hanging out with me. I hope you had a good time with me as I did with you today. If you're interested in where to follow me on social media and all that shit, that's down below. If not, again, thank you for being here. And also, for this makeup look, I will have a video in the next couple of days with a tutorial in how to get this. So I'm not going to spill the beans on what eyeshadow palette it is, but yeah, I'm very excited about that video. Anyways, alright, thank you guys for always spending this time with me. You're amazing, and I hope you have an amazing day, evening, morning, whenever you're watching this. Just be safe and take care of yourself. That's most important right now in these crazy, crazy times. So I'm sending you lots of love, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?